Chapter 10. At the costume ball in Shanghai, 4 Mile series electrified society by appearing as Death Endures Death in the Maiden, with a dazzling blonde creature clad in transparent veils. A Victorian society which stifled its women in purdah, and which regarded the 1920 gowns of the Penimonde clan as excessively daring, was shocked, despite the fact that Robin Wensbury was chaperoning the pair. But when 4 Mile revealed that the female was a magnificent android, there was an instant reversal of opinion in his favor. Society was delighted with the deception. The naked body, shameful in humans, was merely a sexless curiosity in androids. At midnight, 4 Mile auctioned off the android to the gentlemen of the ball. "The money to go to charity, 4 Mile?" "Certainly not. You know my slogan, not 1 cent for entropy. Do I hear 100 credits for this expensive and lovely creature? 100, gentlemen. She's all beauty and highly adaptable. 2, thank you. 3.5, thank you. I'm bid 5, 8, thank you. Any more bids for this remarkable product of the resident genius of the 4 Mile Circus? She walks, she talks, she adapts. She has been conditioned to respond to the highest bidder. 9. Do I hear any more bids? Are you all done? Are you all through? Sold to Lord Yale for 900 credits." Tumultuous applause and appalled ciphering. An android like that must have cost 90,000. How can he afford it? "Will you turn the money over to the android, Lord Yale? She will respond suitably. Until we meet again in Rome, ladies and gentlemen. The Boris Palace at midnight. Happy New Year!" 4 Mile had already departed when Lord Yale discovered, to the delight of himself and the other bachelors, that a double deception had been perpetrated. The android was, in fact, a living human creature, all beauty and highly adaptable. She responded magnificently to 900 credits. The trick was the smoking room story of the year. The stags waited eagerly to congratulate 4 Mile. But Foyle and Robin Wensbury were passing under a sign that read, "Double your jaunting or double your money back," in 7 languages, and entering the emporium of Dr. Sergei Orel, celestial enlarger of cranial capabilities. The waiting room was decorated with lurid brain charts demonstrating how Dr. Orel poulticized, cupped, balsamed, and electrolyzed the brain into double its capacity or double your money back. He also doubled your money with antifebrile furgatives, magnified your morals with tonic ruberants, and adjusted all anguished psyches with Orel's epileptic vulnerary. My goodness. The waiting room was empty. Foyle opened a door at a venture. He and Robin had a glimpse of a long hospital ward. Foyle grunted in disgust. "A snow joint. Might have known he'd be running a dive for hopheads, too." This den catered to disease collectors, the most hopeless of neurotic addicts. They lay in their hospital beds, suffering mildly from illegally induced parameasles, paraflu, paramalaria, devotedly attended by nurses in starched white uniforms and avidly enjoying their illegal illness and the attention it brought. "Look at them," Foyle said contemptuously. "Disgusting. If there's anything filthier than a religion junkie, it's a diseased bird." "Good evening," a voice spoke behind them. Foyle shut the door and turned. Dr. Sergei Orel bowed. The good doctor was crisp and sterile in the classic white cap, gown, and surgical mask of the medical clans, to which he belonged by fraudulent assertion only. He was short, swarthy, and olive-eyed, recognizably Russian by his name alone. More than a century of jaunting had so mingled the many populations of the world that racial types were disappearing. "Didn't expect to find you open for business on New Year's Eve," Foyle said. "Our Russian New Year comes 2 weeks later," Dr. Orel answered. "Step this way, please." He pointed to a door and disappeared with a pop. The door revealed a long flight of stairs. As Foyle and Robin started up the stairs, Dr. Orel appeared above them. "This way, please. Oh, one moment." He disappeared and appeared again behind them. "You forgot to close the door." He shut the door and jaunted again. This time he reappeared high at the head of the stairs. "In here, please." Showing off, Foyle muttered. Double your jaunting or double your money back, all the same. He's pretty fast, so I'll have to be faster. They entered the consultation room. It was a glass-roofed penthouse. The walls were lined with gaudy but antiquated medical apparatus. A sedative bath machine, an electric chair for administering shock treatment to schizophrenics, an EKG analyzer for tracing psychotic patterns, old optical and electronic microscopes. The quack waited for them behind his desk. He jaunted to the door, closed it, jaunted back to his desk, bowed, indicated chairs, jaunted behind Robin's and held it for her, jaunted to the window and adjusted the shade, jaunted to the light switch and adjusted the lights, then reappeared behind his desk. 1 year ago, he smiled, I could not jaunt at all. Then I discovered the secret, the salutiferous abstressive which Foyle touched his tongue to the switchboard wired into the nerve endings of his teeth. He accelerated. He arose without haste, stepped to the slow-motion figure, blew behind the desk, took out a heavy sap, and scientifically smote Aurel across the brow, concussing the frontal lobes and stunning the jaunt center. He picked the quack up and strapped him into the electric chair. All this took approximately 5 seconds. To Robin Winsberry, it was a blur of motion. Foyle decelerated. The quack opened his eyes, stirred, discovered where he was, and started in anger and perplexity. You're Sergei Aurel, pharmacist's mate off the Varga, Foyle said quietly. You were aboard the Varga on September 16th, 2436. The anger and perplexity turned to terror. On September 16, you passed a wreck out near the asteroid belt. It was the wreck of the Nomad. She signaled for help, and Varga passed her by. You left her to drift and die. Why? Aurel rolled his eyes, but did not answer. Who gave the order to pass me by? Who was willing to let me rot and die? Aurel began to gibber. Who was aboard Varga? Who shipped with you? Who was in command? I'm going to get an answer. Don't think I'm not. Foyle said with calm ferocity. I'll buy it or tear it out of you. Why was I left to die? Who told you to let me die? Aurel screamed. I can't talk about... Wait, He sagged. Foyle examined the body. Dead, he muttered, just when he was ready to talk. Just like Forrest. Murdered. No, I never touched him. It was suicide. Foyle cackled without humor. You're insane. No, amused. I didn't kill him. I forced them to kill themselves. What nonsense is this? They've been given sympathetic blocks. You know about SBs, girl. Intelligence uses them for espionage agents. Take a certain body of information you don't want told. Link it with the sympathetic nervous system that controls automatic respiration and heartbeat. As soon as the subject tries to reveal that information, the block comes down, the heart and lungs stop, the man dies. Your secret's kept. An agent doesn't have to worry about killing himself to avoid torture. It's been done for him. It was done to these men? Obviously. But why? How do I know? Refugee running isn't the answer. Varga must have been operating worse rackets than that to take this precaution. But we've got a problem. Our last lead is Poggi in Rome. Angelo Poggi, chef's assistant off the Varga. How are we going to get information out of him without... He broke off. His image stood before him, silent, ominous, face burning blood red, clothes flaming. Foyle was paralyzed. He took a breath and spoke in a shaky voice. Who are you? What are you... The image disappeared. Foyle turned to Robin, moistening his lips. Did you see it? Her expression answered him. Was it real? She pointed to Sergei Aurel's desk, alongside which the image had stood. Papers on the desk had caught fire and were burning briskly. Foyle backed away, still frightened and bewildered. He passed a hand across his face. It came away wet. Robin rushed to the desk and tried to beat out the flames. She picked up wads of paper and letters and slammed them helplessly. Foyle did not move. I can't stop it, she gasped at last. We've got to get out of here. Foyle nodded, then pulled himself together with power and resolution. Rome, he croaked. We jaunt to Rome. There's got to be some explanation for this. I'll find it, by God. And in the meantime, I'm not quitting. Rome, girl. Go, jaunt.